the Fitzy and Whipper with Kate Ritchie podcast.
How good is that?
Okay, so you're Brad Pitt.
That don't impress me.
Are you a Brad Pitt fan? Do you think he's a bit of all right?
Have you met him, Kate?
No.
No, Fitzy and I have. We hung
have
out
you?
with Brad a couple of times, haven't we, mate?
Yeah, we're not one-on-one. We got a red carpet with him.
That's not hanging out.
No,
I
we went
hate
for
to
beer. We went
say
for
it.
beers afterwards.
I hate to say it, that's not being his friend. He wouldn't remember you, let's be honest.
We did an interview, and remember that? He looked back at us, Fitz, and sort of nodded as if to say, should we get a skewy after this?
No, he didn't.
He didn't.
Unfortunately, he didn't. I watched again the other day, Kate, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood with him and Leonardo, and the scene where he's on the roof, working on the roof with his top off and a pair of jeans.
Yeah.
Bloke still got it. There has to be a deficiency. Are you going to go into a deficiency of Brad Pitt here? Because
look, I have found over the last few years, of course, and like everybody, watched the divorce of Brad and Ange, and then the subsequent court proceedings
it's been messy.
Yeah, and I think there's been a lot of mud slung at Brad. It's not for me to say whether it's true or not, but some people can get away with certain. Well, they shouldn't be able to. Let's be very clear.
The world's not fair.
But you can't forget that he's pretty hot stuff. And that's what I want to talk about this morning, because apparently he has a filthy little habit. And I don't know whether this would put you off, Brad, or not, but it didn't surprise me. His old cast mate, Jason Priestley, I'm not sure what they worked together on, but they did actually live together in a flat many years ago before even Brad was famous. He turned up in, I guess Hollywood, they're all not doing very well at this stage. So there's three people in an apartment sharing. Jason Priestley comes home one day and it happens to be Brad Pitt before he's Brad Pitt.
Yeah, right.
They got on like a house on fire. The way Jason tells the story is that these were the days where they drank generic beer and smoked Marlboro Lights, and they were just hanging out.
Lads, just the lads. Yeah, the boys.
The boys.
Lads.
But apparently Brad doesn't shower very much, and that was the big reveal. Jason was talking on this podcast, and I don't know. I think that one thing about Brad that is kind of attractive is that he's a bit rough around the edges.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see him in his tuxedo on the red carpet, and he does scrub up very well.
But he still looks a bit unwashed, doesn't he?
Well, like you're saying, in that movie Fitz, that kind of slightly sweaty, a bit unwashed, kind of almost greasy hair.
Even hotter.
Well, I don't think it is hotter. I'm not a big fan of
What
that.
are you talking about? Fight Club as well? Remember he got into a fight?
Yeah.
Remember, and his face was full of blood and he still looked hot as.
Still kissable.
Kate.
How long does he go without a shower?
Days and days and days. And that's what Jason... I mean, to add to the boys' club, it was a bit like who's not showering? Which one can win the medal this week of Jason and Brad in the apartment? I'm not going to have
Do you know what my concern is, though? It's okay to look a little unwashed and still be handsome the way Brad Pitt is. You just don't want that beddy smell. You know when you see those people?
But see, some women love that.
At work.
No,
Tom
but
gets
who
to the
loves that?
No
Kate,
one likes it.
Kate, that's what we were.
Beddy.
The cavemen. This is the thing. It was the aroma that attracted the female to the male.
No. Look, get involved. 13, 24, 10. Tell us what you think. But I think there's a difference between looking a bit unwashed, maybe a bit body odory, but in a kind of I've been working really hard to catch you dinner.
Yeah, different
way.
being a Betty slob.
Then the lying in the bed, like what a teenage boy or men in their early 20s. You open the door to their room and
just
you're like, it stinks of like
of desperation.
TV and playing with their bodies.
Can I throw Priestley under the bus though? Because we've interviewed him before. He came in with pink eye. He had pink eye.
It's not a joke.
Can you back me up there, Tom? Do you remember that?
He did. I got a photo next to Jason. He had pink eye at the time. He was a bit shy about it, wasn't he, Tom? He had sunglasses on. Then we went, take your glasses off.
Yeah, he refused to take the glasses
Yeah, you're
off.
either blind or you're an idiot.
When it comes to hygiene, Kate, I tell you what, I'd rather a 5-day unwashed Brad Pitt
Than a pinky stinky.
than some bloke who's obviously not washing himself properly.
Can we throw it out there how long you're gone without a shower?
That would be... And whether you think you're still attractive.
Yeah, you're still picking up. Like if you had any luck after not showering for a week.
And I've got a story too about somebody that I used to work with who was a bit up this Brad Pitt.
Really? Blackers?
Yeah. No, well, I mean, I'll leave that up to you guys. I'll be telling you.
Was it?
Belinda in... Thanks, Fitz. Belinda in Bondi. What do you think about this not showering business?
Morning, everybody. Well, I think it's rather a turn on. My husband's Greek, and he's been doing a Brad Pitt way before Brad Pitt invented it.
Belinda, is he more of a BO kind of aroma? So does he go out to work all day and come home with that strong BO? Is that his fragrance?
Yes, it's under the arms, and when he lifts it, there's just this beastly, manly smell that lingers. And he's in construction, so hot days, he comes home all sweaty.
So
he can build.
And the hotter the day, the more...
He can do more than build, Kate.
Oh, Belinda.
The hotter the day, the more excited you are when he gets home, Belinda.
If he's a Greek man, Belinda, is he hairy shoulders, hairy back? Is he everywhere?
No, he's not one of those hairy apes. No.
Nothing wrong.
No. Not a hairy
Nothing
ape.
wrong with being hairy.
Does he smell like garlic as well, Belinda?
I do use garlic.
I thought you might. I bet you're a good cook, aren't you, Belinda? And you feed him up and you look after him at the end of the day.
What do you mean
Of
by
course
that?
I do. Come over for a meal, Kate.
I will. You're just up the road.
Hey, Belinda, can I ask, what is the longest he's been without a shower?
Well, it's not really without a shower. He does shower. It's just that he doesn't use deodorant under the arm. So even though you shower, you still got that smell there.
Yeah. Look, I get it. I do get it.
Pheromones.
You're lying on somebody's chest and you're like...
You can smell them.
Oh, that's them.
Yeah, but
that
do you know what?
smells
Belinda's
like
proud though as well. When they're having a couple of social drinks, she's proud to look around the room and go, "That I know that you're getting quite disgusted by that smell, but that smells mine.
Yeah,
He's mine."
But she doesn't need to look around the room, Fitz. She always knows where he is.
Yeah, she knows when he's gone up the hallway.
2 metres away, back left.
But the thing is, it's different when they are your partner and you are somewhat attracted to them. When you work with people, I think it's really different. I think that there is a level of showering that comes with being considerate to other people around you. I had... I won't say who they are, but probably fancied themselves as a bit of a Brad Pitt.
Right.
You know, like,
go on with your story.
And I worked with them on a show I did for a few years.
Mm-hmm.
Television or radio?
Television.
Raymar.
Yeah, great. This is awesome. Keep going.
And he was one of these guys that just didn't shower and almost wore it as a badge of honour.
Yeah.
And happen. I mean, he might know, but Belinda and her stinky husband in Bondi, because lived around the ocean, and thought that if he had a shower, if he had a swim at Bondi,
that was enough.
That was enough, and to the point where he had to be spoken to and said, you know, you've got to shower. And he said, well, I'm having a swim in the ocean every day. It was kind of like a bit natural too.
Sure.
Might not wear shoes.
Bit of a nudist.
But,
was it Hemsworth? You did work with Hemsworth for a while. Was it him?
I wouldn't care if Chris ever showered, really. I mean, let's put that one out to the ladies. I think if anyone can get away without showering,
Hemsworth.
It's Chris. But this person just had to be advised that bathing in the ocean was not enough, and a cake of soap had to be included.
Got spoken to. Did you hook up with them?
On the show?
No,
off the show?
outside of the show.
No.
You sure?
Well, no, I've just told a story about them being a bit stinky.
So they were that bad.
No, but that's not why I didn't hook up with
Kate?
them. I think I was in a relationship, and also I don't like to mix business with pleasure.
There was a guy who worked in radio. Tommy and I worked with him. They had to have a chat to him, didn't they, Tom? About his breath.
Yeah.
He thought it was a prank. He went, "Where's the cameras?" When
Yeah,
he was
I
in the
did.
boss's office.
Oh,
Yep.
no.
And they went, "No, this is serious. Your breath smells like you've eaten a turd sandwich." Go and have a look at yourself.
The Fitzy and Whipper with Kate Ritchie podcast.
Well, do you know what? We have a beautiful person in here, not just physically,
mate.
but also spiritually as well. And the Imperfects podcast, 6th season. Wow. It's back again. You can get it wherever you get your good podcasts from. We love this, man. Hugh Van Collaboo, welcome, buddy!
It's so nice to see you. Can I just clear up something quickly with you? I heard on one of the podcasts somebody calling you Hugh Van Seilenberg. Is that correct?
I've been called so many things. Cycling bird one day.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, cycling bird.
I like that.
There's an interview on the ABC, and then a friend of mine found a picture on Google Images of a bird riding a bike. And anyway.
Mate, let's talk about Resilience Project, because one of the key topics which came up, and we were discussing this off air, was addiction to mobile phones.
So in the hotel this morning where I went down for breakfast, and there was a family of 4.
Yeah.
So it was a mum and dad. It was a boy, would have been maybe 13, girl looked about 15, 16. And I was chatting to the dad at the buffet area, and he was saying they'd come down from Cairns, they'd stayed for 2 nights, and he was sitting near me, and he went back to his table and he sat there, and his 2 kids were slumped in their chairs on their phones. Mum was on the phone, and I was watching going, that's so sad. Like if that was us back in the day, you would be you'd so excited with your family, trip to the city, and be chatting about it. And the guy, after about 2 minutes, he said, "Is there any danger I could have some conversation with someone in my own family?" And he looked so upset about it. And no one answered. Like no one looked up from their phone. Like it was just met with complete silence. And he was sitting there eating his muesli, looking so shattered. And I was like, oh, that's really depressing. And then 10 minutes later, I realised all I'd been doing myself for the last 10 minutes was being on my phone as well. And so I've talked about this so much over the last 5 to 10 years, addiction to devices. And I've realised that, so in my book that I wrote, which is called The Far Too Personal Trainer. That's the book I wish I wrote.
No, still a couple of copies available at fartoopersonaltrainer.com.
Did you know J-Lo's heard about it? It's unbelievable.
Has she?
Yeah, she has.
Oh
yeah.
my God, that's great.
She can't believe it. She loves it.
Can't believe it.
She didn't like it.
Well, she hasn't read it yet, but she's heard about it. She's aware of it.
So in my book, I did a whole section. I wrote it in 2019, and I did this whole thing on addiction to devices, and I had 4 strategies in there, and I won't list them all now, but because I've realised that they worked back then, but they don't now. I feel like the big tech and the algorithms have got smarter and smarter and smarter, and they've got better at making us addicted.
Yep.
And so they don't really, and there's only one out of the, like there was stuff like, I was saying back in 2019, put all your social media apps in a folder and put it 5 screens across. And label that like folder regret or something like that, because you know you're going to regret. Apparently the most common emotion anyone experiences after 10 minutes or more on social media is regret. So I was like, you could name that folder regret, and you could put it 5 screens across. I've realised for the last 3 years, I just swipe 5 screens, click on regret, don't even read it, and I just go straight into Instagram, and then I'm stuck. Yeah. And so I've sort of realised that it's the strategies I wrote about in the book, they're because of the way technology it's just got smarter and smarter. The algorithm's too good. It just keeps sending me videos of Brett Lee bowling Yorkers and snakes being taken out of people's houses. Which I cannot say no to that. I cannot not look at that. And so I've literally in the last 3 weeks, I've taken a new step, and it's the only thing that really works for me. And I'd love people to try this. It's a technique, and it involves literally putting your phone in a really inconvenient place where you actually can't physically get to it. So when I get home from work at 5 o'clock or 5-ish, I leave it in the car and I park about 50 metres down the road.
Wow.
And then I go in. But otherwise...
Do you really do this?
Well, yeah. Like in the last 3 weeks I have. And it's been huge because I've noticed... I reckon if you think about it, the reason we go to our phone... So often the reason we go to our phone is actually just to numb a negative emotion. Well, convenience, and also we try to numb a negative emotion. So the second we feel sad, lonely,
disconnected,
whatever it is, we just grab our phone and we try to numb the negative emotion. It works. It numbs the negative emotion. but it doesn't fix the problem. So we put the phone down, we're still where we were before. So the example I'll give is my daughter, who's 4, has the last 6 months is having a lot of problems around bedtime. Her meltdowns honestly will last about an hour, I reckon.
Yeah.
And it's my job to put her to bed. Penny's with the boys. And I have had my phone on me. Whenever she's melting down, I just get my phone out and sort of look at snakes being taken out of people's houses or Brett Lee's in swinging Yorkers. And it's just like, I've been doing that just because it's a negative emotion. I'm so upset with how she's going that I'm just grabbing my phone. And then I was like, no, what am I doing? Like, she's just watching me be on my phone this whole hour when she's in distress. And so I put it downstairs. But then after 10 minutes, I was like, I'll just go and get it. And I was almost like I'd sleepwalking. I didn't even know I was doing. I was going downstairs, getting my phone. Now I've left it in the car. It's too far. I was like, I can't be bothered. And I've actually noticed that we get through the hour together. Like, we both get upset together, then we both cheer up together, and we go through all the emotions together. We go through this sort of cycle. We sort of complete this stress cycle together. And it's been really beautiful to really totally be present with her as she struggles and then works her way through it.
Yeah.
And I think
is she going to sleep? Has it helped in that sense?
No, it still takes about an hour and a half for her to fall asleep. But I'm lying there with her and I'm present for it. And when she's struggling, the message she's getting is, hey, I'm here with you. We're in this together, as opposed to, oh, look at that delivery from Brett Lee. There's no way that's like...
Great delivery. My youngest son at the moment has a real passion for gaming. So he loves sitting there and talking to mates while playing a game and loves it. And I understand that. But we give him time limits, and this is the thing. He has the hardest thing is for him to say goodbye to his mates and stop it altogether. But I think the most important question, Hugh, out of all of this is, how does Brett Lee hold the ball to get that in Yorker?
I just knew that was Brett Lee related. I just knew it.
No, you just knew the whole time. I don't know how he does it, Hugh.
It's
no
so
one does.
Beautiful. If you want to have a good time on YouTube, just type in Brett Lee in swinging Yorker. And
it's good.
Actually, no, that's a device. Don't do that.
I was reading a story, I don't know if you saw it in the news, about Libby Trickett, of course, hero swimmer, champion.
Yep.
And she had an awkward encounter, I think, with a family member who said to a child of hers who is 9 something about the fact that she seems to have dropped some weight and she's looking fantastic. And that was to the child in the house. Now, Libby thought long and hard about whether she was going to deal with this privately or she was kind of going to open the discussion publicly because of how disgusted she was. Let's have a little listen to Libby.
I had someone close to us say to my 8-year-old daughter today, "Wow, you look like you've lost weight. Have you lost weight? You look great." My daughter's 8.
And that she kind of continues on in her socials post. I guess what I want to ask is, yes, there's the whole discussion around how we talk about body image and how that's projected onto particularly little girls. But I'm guessing, and I don't know who the family member was, but there's always a tricky family member. And sometimes the older generation thinks that the way they parent or the way that they spoke to their children is going to work for you and your children today. It doesn't always. How do you have those, how do you kind of say to people, hey, guess what? These aren't your children to be looking after. These aren't your children to speak to that way. And we're not going to have that in our house and still be kind of okay with them. Am I making sense?
No, totally.
Do you know what I mean? Because there's even books I've seen
How do
where
you have that chat?
Books for grandparents or books for aunties and uncles because sometimes it's not great for everybody to get involved and put their parenting skills into a different household.
The most important conversation in that point is the conversation between Libby and her child. And so I don't think you are going to change a person who says that. You can have a hard conversation with them if you want, but that relationship there, I think they'll probably double down and say, that's true, that's how I feel. I'm just saying how I feel. Yeah. Or whatever it is. I don't think they're going to go, do you know what? I can't see a world in which that person goes, do you know what? No. You've made some really good points. I think I'm wrong, and I'm going to go and have a chat to this child to explain that
You're
what I said
right,
was wrong.
because they do tend to say, I was just saying that they look nice.
Especially if it's a family member. They're prepared to fight.
Yeah, totally. And I think they'll just justify what they said, or they'll try and downplay the significance of it and sort of almost sort of gaslight.
Yes.
I don't know this person, maybe they won't, but in general, I would say that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, let's say it's not Libby, it's just anyone.
I would say all the emotional energy you have in that moment goes to the child, just to say to them, just to explain to them that what was just said was utter nonsense in whichever language will work for you and your child. And what matters is how kind they are, how compassionate they are, how much they, all the stuff that we know that kids, need to hear. And basically, you are enough. As you are right now, you are enough, and you don't need approval from outside people, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so when an adult says something like that to a child, of course the child's going to trust the adult because they're the adult in that situation. The message there to Libby Trickett's daughter was, you look better when you're thin. Such a dangerous and toxic message to receive. So I think, I know Libby very well. We're very lucky to have her on our podcast. She's a beautiful person.
She's amazing.
And I know that she would have put a lot of work into that conversation. So I'm very long. Sorry, if I could do this in a very quick way.
No, yeah.
All the emotional.
I like the long way, by the way, but I know we don't usually have time for it on the show.
All the emotional energy you have in that moment needs to go towards your child, and to sort of almost rescue that situation. But I'm sure for a lot of parents, they've done so much great work in that area that it won't be that much of a struggle to get them to understand that.
And you can adapt then that kind of way of parenting, whether it's a chat. You can adapt that way of parenting. Whether it's a discussion about kind of weight or about other things within the household, always put your focus on the child, not the person who's saying the things you don't want them to say.
Yep, totally.
We love you to death. The 6th season of The Imperfects. It starts, when is it up? When's your first episode, Hugh? When are you kicking off?
Monday. This coming Monday, episode 1 with, I don't think we're allowed to say who, but it rhymes with Hat Rummans.
Wow. Oh, the tennis player.
That is amazing. Hey, I could do a good in-swinging Yorker as well.
Just to round it out. Very nice.
Love you, Hugh. Thanks for coming in, buddy.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me.
Mate.
Thank you.
Fits in Whipper with Kate Ritchie is a Nova podcast. For more great shows like this, download the Nova Player via the App Store or Google Play.
The Nova Player.